Hi, Christina. Can you see my slides that I'm displaying?
Yes, I can, Dominique.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We'll just give it one more minute to allow all the other members of the committee to join, and then we'll get started.
Can anyone who's not speaking please mute their mics and then unmute when it's time for you to speak?
Okay, great. We'll get started then. Dominique, if it's okay, after the meeting, there's not many people on the actual webinar on the list, so if we can make sure this goes out to the students as soon as possible, because they may have had the same issues that we've had with joining as the committee.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, great. So welcome to the final webinar of 2025 for the UAS Challenge. So this is going to be a much smaller webinar. We're just going to go through a couple of the last wrap-ups now all your deliverables have come in for the actual challenge and the fly-off event. So within here, we've got some critical information that will impact your ability at the event, which is why it's so crucial that the students are given this information, and you please take note of this. The slides will be available after this webinar, but please take account of the information in here because it is valuable and important. Okay, so what we'll just start with is just a quick run through. This is a repeat from the last webinar, but it is crucial for the event safety elements. So if we go to the next slide, Dominique. So in terms of safety documentation, so the event safety cases have already been made available to all the teams. So it is crucial that you review the safety case at the event. You'll be asked to sign and declare where that you have read and know your responsibility to the safety of the event. There will be a short safety brief for all team members once we start at the event and all the teams have arrived. But there is a lot more information that you do need to be aware of, and you'll be signing this to declare that you understand your safety responsibility. Go to the next slide. Behaviour. So everybody's responsible from safety. So there is a safety award, and it does become part of your overall judging as well. From the moment that you step on site, we will be judging how you involve in safety, how you act, and your behaviour. It does not end when you're finished flying. If you finish flying on day 2 and there's still a whole day of the competition and we see behaviour that is not in accordance with our codes of conduct and our safety case, you will forfeit your safety award or your safety points if you are on track to receive that. So it is very crucial that you understand your responsibility and the expectations that are set for yourself. So standard ones: no running in the marquee, observe caution in the car park, make yourself aware of the general layout of site, camping sites, water points, hangar, flight lines. You do not cross the flight line without the authority of the flight line staff. So if you are breach of that, you will just not get to fly. Teams marquee, the repair tent, and the business presentation room. So these are all places where you need to adhere to the safety rules that are within the safety case. We go to the next slide, Dominique. Modifying and repairing your UAS. So Bernice gave a full overview of this at the last webinar, but please make sure you're aware of what you can and cannot do in the hangar and what you need to be able to go to the repair tent to do. If you are in violation of that, we will prevent you from working anything further on your UAS until you have adhered to all the regulations and the rules that have been set. If you go to the next slide, Dominique. 3D printers. So if you require to bring a 3D printer on site, you must inform IMechE and we will tell you whether you can or not. We have got up to 40 teams coming on site, and if all of you bring 3D printers, it will not be possible. So therefore, we have to know the number to say whether you can or can't. However, you should come to site with all the equipment that you need, spares, etc., already printed. We cannot run them overnight. We cannot run them for long periods of time. So therefore, it's essential that you come with all the spare parts that you need and any of the critical components that could go wrong, and you bring them already printed. Okay, if we go to the next slide. Okay, I'll hand over to Lambert, who's going to give you a quick overview of the judging element.
Yes, thank you, Christina. And hello, everybody. Okay, well, just a very quick run through a few points related to the fly-off event. So the next slide, please, Dominic. Just a very brief reminder of the scoring, that there's all the paperwork elements of it, all of which should have been completed by now, although I do note that there are still a few design reviews missing, and a few of your teams have yet to deliver your FRR as well. In respect of the FRR, you will only receive feedback on the FRR if there is something you need to do before you arrive at Buckminster. So quite a number of teams will be getting in the next day a feedback sheet which will indicate what you must do before you arrive at Buckminster, please. The next slide, please. And again, the mission scoring, which is the bulk of the total score for the competition. Again, you'll see it's all in the rules. Read the rules, you'll see how each of these elements are made up. But remember, your total mission time for the payload delivery mission is just 15 minutes. Okay, the next one, please. Now, the things that you'll be doing at Buckminster are, as well as obviously the flying, the business presentation. And the purpose of that is to sell your humanitarian aid UAS to the agency that might want to use it. And so this is a 10-minute presentation on your business case for your design. You can deliver that in any form, but generally people bring along a PowerPoint presentation. It must be on your own laptop. You will connect your laptop to a screen in the area that we use for the business presentation. And what we want to see in that presentation is a brief summary of the key features, the target market and that you're going for and the size of that market. What is the market and how big is it? How you're going to actually put this into production, because all you're bringing to the event is your prototype. So how are you going to productionize it? A breakdown of your costs, and you've got to think about operating costs and support costs, not just the build cost. The revenue model, what you're going to charge or how you're going to do it. Are you going to rent out your UAS? Are you going to be the provider of delivering the payloads for the agency, or are you going to sell your UAS to the agency? And then we'd like to see if there are any environmental advantages from your, have you done something in biodegradable materials or whatever else that might help its environmental credentials. So just a short presentation, and we will then ask you some questions on it. And not only is there an award for the business presentation, but it does contribute some points to the overall Grand Champion part of the competition. Next one, please. We also want you to bring along an A0 poster to put up in your pit area that describes as much as you can in a legible form about your UAS on that single page. So a brief summary of its design, development, manufacturing and testing that you may have done. Please highlight any innovative features that you think your design has, something about your approach to safety, and again, it's an opportunity to talk about any environmental considerations you've had. So a single thing, so that somebody coming along who hasn't seen your UAS before can, just by looking at this poster, get a really good feel for what you've achieved. And the next one, please. We also want you to bring along a document portfolio, so a paper document portfolio that has the key things that you've delivered to us over the last 9 months. So a copy of your concept paper, your PDR and CDR minutes, your design and development specification, your FRR minutes, any corrective action sheets, because when we fed back on your design and development specification, we will have given you at the bottom some corrective actions if they were appropriate. So we want to see your response to those and any changes you've made since your design and development specification put together in a portfolio. So when the judges come around and talk to you about your design, they can flick through that if they have any particular points or issues they want to bring up with you. Then the next one, please. And then there's the STEM engagement. Now we're going to do that differently this year than we have in past. And so this year, it will be judged by members of the IMechE Young Members Board. And through the 4 days of the competition, they will come around and talk to you in the hangar and ask you about what STEM engagement activities you've undertaken during the last 9 months. And if you can provide some evidence, that will clearly be helpful in making your case. But any evidence you do bring has got to be there ready either on paper or on a laptop or whatever means that you want to show it. And I think that, there's maybe another one, please. It was just a reminder about all the awards that are available from the top 3 that are done through all the paperwork and the mission scoring, and then the individual awards on innovation and safety, etc., which will be judged during the event. And I think that's all from me. Thank you. Over to you, Christina.
Okay, Brilliant. So now we'll take you through the mission planning requirements. So we spoke in the last webinar to give you some foresight into actually how we're expecting you to plan your mission. So here, a hard geofence must be loaded. Teams will set the TOAL points on the day, so the takeoff and landing points of the fly-up as your initial setup points. Teams will be provided with yellow coordinates as indicated on the diagram and the two furthest points of the runway. These are not mandatory to navigate, but purely for information purposes of planning. So we spoke through this at the last webinar. And now if you go to the next slide, Dominique. We're going to run through how we expect you to mission plan that scenario. So the 10 waypoints that we give you will not be sufficient for you to plan your entire mission scenario. You must add in other points here. So you must go round the waypoint, not through, not inside. You must go round. And to put this one waypoint in and expect your aircraft to go round, it will overshoot that navigation point, and it will likely go in to the geofence limit. So it is important that you set multiple waypoints around each of these and throughout the rest of your mission scenario to make sure that your aircraft can successfully navigate as per the handling qualities of your aircraft to get you the maximum points and to make sure your aircraft doesn't actually fall out the sky because it's hit the geofence. Okay, in the UK, there is often wind. So last year we had multiple days of quite strong wind, still within the tolerability of the aircraft, of the competition limitations, but high wind in comparison to what we've had a previous competition. So it is important that you take that into account and you know how your aircraft will operate in windy scenarios. Okay, and if we go to the next slide, Dominique. So we said this year we're going to do things slightly different. 2 weeks prior to the competition, we're going to provide you with the waypoints. So these are the waypoints. So these are the waypoints for those critical points, such as the geofences and the takeoff and landing parts of the runway. So these are the hard set navigation points that you must set. So these will be checked by our flight line staff and by our scheduling staff before you're allowed on the flight line. So all of this will be checked to make sure this is put in, as it is a hard, fast requirement. If these points are not in there, you will not be allowed onto the flight line. This is the only piece of information that we're going to give you through this webinar that won't be available anywhere else. So it's mandatory for all teams to look at this webinar and find these points, because otherwise you will show up to the event without them. If we go to the next slide. And these are the coordinates of the waypoints, waypoint 1 to 10 and the target. So this slide pack will be available after this webinar, but this is your reference point for you to get that information. We will expect you to come prepared to the challenge with your mission scenario already planned in accordance with these to make sure that you can get around each of these waypoints safely. And that will be checked. There is the opportunity to do some earlier flying this year in comparison to previous years. So if you can show up on that Monday afternoon, do your safety brief, and we will allow you to prepare your aircraft starting Monday afternoon within our hangar. There is the opportunity there to do earlier flying to get as much flying in as possible. But it is essential that you come already prepared with all of this information and your mission flight, your flight plan, all ready to go, ready through scrutineering and through the flight line staff and the judges. Go to the next slide, Dominique. The last one we've got here is information on the tracker. So this tracker isn't for anything to do with the competition in terms of GPS coordinates or for any of the information associated with the competition flying. This is purely for if the aircraft is lost, it's a means of us locating the aircraft. So we put it in the rules this year. We gave you a simple set of requirements such as size, etc., that we wanted you to be able to mandate and the location that it must be in. So we've now providing you the information. So pit-pat dog GPS tracker will be attached to the flight line by the UAS safety personnel. So it won't be attached by the students, and it will be attached easily removable by us. There will be no attachment point. All you need to do is leave a space according to the rules within the 2025 rule set. Uses long-range mobile cellular coverage. So we've done a series of tests to make sure that there is no interference. However, we have put the website link here for all the information relating to that tracker, for you to do any assurance that you need to do as each of your teams. However, there shouldn't be any interference. Okay, and next slide. Okay, so as I said, this webinar was purely a quick run through to give you 3 pieces of information that were needed, and said we will provide you 2 weeks before the event. This is the only location where all of that information will be available, and it will help you becoming prepared for the event and hopefully getting flying as soon as possible. So I'll now open the board to any questions.
Please type any questions into the Q&A box. You can see the tab at the top of your screen.
I've just seen one question come through. As we are missing 7 members of our 10-person crew, will this affect our scoring potential on the day? No, so we have had teams in the past only come with 2 or 3 people per person at the competition. If you're only coming with 3 personnel, you just need to effectively manage your time through obviously getting your aircraft prepared, putting in all the information that you need to, scrutineering, going through the business proposition, and doing your SCEM engagement. Just try and manage that well. There will be slots provided for all of those, and to get your aircraft going. So it wouldn't be advisable to have your aircraft flying at the same time as your business proposition presentation, due to the number of members, but it won't directly impact your score. You just need to manage your time more effectively. Yeah, and as Will's just said, practice your unboxing routine with the people you will have available. Okay, I can't see any other questions. We'll give it 1 more minute, and if there are no other questions, we'll end the webinar there. One other question, do we need to provide registration plates for cars attending in advance? No, there's no need to provide registration plates. When you get onto site, there is a car park dedicated for the students and one for the staff at the event. Just follow to where you're directed to park, and that is sufficient. And another question, and what registration marks need to be on the UAV again? Lambert or Will or Chris, if you're on the line, do you know the answer to that one?
It's
Well,
the
you have to.
standard. Sorry, it's the standard BMFA reg numbers. Plus, we also want on the outside the CFG.
Yeah, it's the CAA ref number, isn't it? Not the BMFA one.
Sorry, yeah, CAA.
Yes, the CAA. You had to have registered as an operator with the CAA, and that number needs to be on the outside of your aircraft.
Okay, brilliant. I've not seen any other questions. So thank you all for attending. It'll be great to see you all in around 2 weeks' time at the challenge. And if there are any questions.
There's another one seems to be appearing.
Just 1 sec also, the rules mention that the RFlocators must be transparent.
So that's where you're going to mount the RF locator has got to be RF transparent. So you need a non-conductive hatch, so not metal and not carbon fiber over where the RF locator is going to be mounted.
Okay, I think that answers that question. No, not a hole in the fuselage. You could leave it as a hole, but we would recommend covering it with a material that is transparent to the RF. Okay, brilliant. I'll call an end to the webinar there then. Thank you all for attending. We'll see you all in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, everyone. The recording will be going out shortly along with the slides.